Hey everybody, you might recognize my guest today, and if you don't, you're definitely going to want to follow her after this episode. She's got style, class. She just is the personification of a lot of wonderful things. And I know that not just because I follow Shannon Mann, OysterstoPearls on Instagram, but I met her on multiple occasions, and that vibrant personality is for real. So today we're going to be talking about being a real world fashion influencer and more, because she is more, on this episode, and doing so in midlife. We're not talking about a 20-something. We're talking about someone a little older. Here goes. Shannon, thank you for joining me.
Diane, thank you for having me. I'm so honored and humbled to be here.
You know, you are just delightful. I enjoy every time I look at your videos. I love when I see you in person because you truly are very much like your videos. You're super relatable, and you've got more fashion sense in your pinky than I will ever have in my body. So where did this all start? How did this sense of fashion begin for you?
Such a great question. I think when I was younger, I look back at photos and I'm carrying 4 handbags. I have on different hats, and I was very young, but I have a creative streak. I like to paint. I like to arrange flowers. So it's just another expression of a creative expression.
Now, let's talk about that Instagram handle, Oysters to Pearls. Where did that come from?
So that's interesting. When my daughter went away to college, she's turning 30 this year. When she went away to college, I said, I need something to do. So I started an Instagram account, and ironically, it was recipes and displaying food in different beautiful ways. And my daughter said, you know, Mom, there's more to you than what you can cook. But Italian roots, cooking is very important in our family. And I said, you know what? I'm going to share the whole thing. And then in 2021, that's when I met you. I met you in 2022. And in 2021, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I said, I'm going to use this platform for good, in a really good way. It's all good, but in a really impactful way, a purposeful way. Mm-hmm. And the rest is history. So
what was the feeling like to disclose so publicly, I have breast cancer and I'm going to share that with a very public audience?
It was never even a second thought. It was, I have to do this. I feel like whatever I'm going through, and ironically at that time, I did not know anyone that was going through breast cancer, not one single person. And then later, when people learned that I had it, they said, oh, I had it. And I said, well, why didn't you tell anyone? I could have used some help when I was going through this. So I have connected with so many women. I actually have a phone call on Thursday with someone that was just diagnosed. It's just that feeling of having someone to, not to hold your hand, but someone to say, I've been through this, you're going to be okay, that's all normal. And that, to me, that's the silver lining.
Now, how did this change how you presented yourself publicly? Were there any before breast cancer and after breast cancer oyster to pearl moments where someone could delineate that moment?
A lot of people have said, I can't even tell, but when I look back myself, I didn't have eyelashes, I didn't have eyebrows. And thank God we have little things that can correct all of that. But I was wearing wigs, and I just thought, you know what, I need to show up here. I need to show up here regardless of what I look like or what I feel like, because people need to see there is life after breast cancer, but there's life during breast cancer. We don't need to hit the pause button. Of course, give yourself grace, rest when you have to rest, but we just have to show up, whatever that looks like. And it's a lesson for all of us to just accept people for where they are, because we don't know. We don't know what people are going through. And it's been eye-opening for me.
That just last night I was having dinner with a bunch of people, and I was sitting next to a woman who was a very, very successful model. Her name's Christine Handy, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer right at the peak of her career and had a double mastectomy. And she's got a new movie coming out. Actually, it's out. It's won 14 awards, called Hello Beautiful. And what she was talking about with me when I asked her, why did you do the movie? She said, every cancer movie, the person dies. And it's this drama of the person dying. I'm like, I immediately thought, yeah, terms of endearment, love story. I couldn't think of one to refute her. And she said, I wanted to prove that there's life after this.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And I wanted to prove that there's life during this, and it's not always pretty. It's not always beautiful, but if we look for those things, we're going to find them. And it is, not everything ends beautifully. We have to be realistic, but at the end of the day, just like she said, it's not all bad. And that is why I continue to show up, because I thought people need to see that when we're going through this, we can still have a life. It might look a little different, but we can still have a life, and a beautiful life.
Such a big thing you said there. There is life during this. And, obviously I write every day, and I think about how we put our lives on hold so often, saying, well, when I get to this, I'll do that. When this is over, I'll do this or that. It's like we try to stop things. And I always think of that line by John Lennon that said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about the plans you're making.
That's right.
Or the other line, life is what, I don't remember who said it, life is what happens while you're busy making other plans.
Absolutely. And I think when you go through something like that, and it doesn't have to be breast cancer, it can be any life-changing experience, I think that it changes you in ways, and it gives you another eye to see things and a different perspective.
Yeah.
And, people would say to me, how could this happen to you? You're the healthiest person that we know. And I said, well, why not me? I'm not special. There's nothing special here. And then when I would do things like exercise, I was trying to exercise during breast cancer treatments and all of that. And they would say, well, why are you doing that? You did all of that and you still got breast cancer. I said, this goes to your quality of life. And just those little sayings, or those things that people would say to me, I would think they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue of, you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself, and you're still going to exercise. You're still going to eat the good food, and you're going to try your best to beat this thing with all you have. And mindset is way up there. Your mindset, your perception of what the future is going to look like, it ranks really high in your outcome.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. I have a friend who's had multiple stem cell transplants, bone marrow transplants, and his tagline is brainwashed for greatness. And he has come back over extreme adversity, and he's producing films. He's not stopping. He's like, this is just something I'm dealing with today, but I've got a lot to still do. I got to keep going. And that attitude is priceless.
Exactly. We're going to laugh, and we're going to make the life. we could go out there and get hit by a car and get killed, and it's all over today. So why are we worrying about these things? And you get up every day and you just give it all you have, and that's all you can do. Pray, do the best you can, and you know, that's what we can do with what we are dealt.
Now, when you look at your impressive audience growth, your passionate fan club around Oysters to Pearls, do you find that it was a lot of women who said, oh, I like her style, or I love her kitchen where she's cooking something, or wow, I can relate to her. She's so downright and real, and she told me about her breast cancer and things she's thinking about. What do you think your magic is?
Well, I don't know about magic, but I do know that I love the connection. And if the entire platform went away tomorrow, so be it. But the relationships that I have made through this platform are something that are beyond my wildest imagination. And I'm so grateful. And that is what I would miss. If the platform went away, okay, but I would keep these relationships. I talk to these women every day. Women reach out to me whether they're going through breast cancer, or a hairstyle, or do you think I should wear a wig or makeup? And it's just about relationship. And I do think we are in a society where we are in our phone a lot, and that is a lot of what I do, but there's also a lot of connection there. And I think not only in this arena, but also in life, don't you think it's what we make of it? If we want the relationships, go for it. If we want to stay behind our phone, then that's what it's going to be. And I'm here for the relationships, and it's been incredible. These are some of the best relationships that I've had in my entire life.
Isn't that fascinating? I find the same thing too. And it's so interesting, to have met people from all over the world, different walks of life, that will share things with me that truly sometimes break my, feel like, I really have to protect my heart sometimes, and share with them the moments of pain I can't imagine they're going through, whether it's, something they're physically impacted by, or the loss of a child, or, an unexpected dissolution of a marriage, so many things people reach out and connect on. And while so many people say social media is very cold, I think it can be. But, and I've been on that attack side, but I've been on the warmth side. I know what it's like to just have people share and want to connect, and it's beautiful.
I think that goes back to your perspective and your mindset. It's what you want to, it's a give and take, it's a ping pong. If you give that off, you're going to receive it back. And I think it's like that in anything in life, but especially in this platform. And there is a lot of negativity around it. But I'm here for the good stuff. I'm here for the good stuff, yeah, for sure.
Now, we have to talk videos a minute, because you do some of the most fun, fascinating videos. When you flip out your outfits, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just fun. She's changing her clothes, and it's happening in an instant. How did those come about? How did your progression of what you started to share evolve?
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, that creative side, and I said, I have to have a creative outlet, and it can't be the same boring stuff. We have to ramp up and get better. And it's just fun, right? It's just, I want to be fun. I want people to be happy to be here. And I want them to, it's not only about fashion, let's have some fun. And that's kind of where that was born, just want to have fun, and I want people to look at this and not only say, I like that shirt, but she's fun. We could be friends. Let's have fun together.
Now, what was the reaction to people in your immediate life who had known you a while as your trajectory and influence started to grow?
Um, I am a very humble person, and I don't like things to be about me. I don't like a birthday party. I just am down to earth in that way where it's just what I do. It's just a fun thing. We don't have to make over it. Um, but it's quite cute right now. My little niece, she's 11 years old. She wanted me to come to her school and dress up because nobody believed that I was an influencer. And I said, I'm a very down to earth person. And she said, no, I don't want you to wear a jogging suit. I want you to dress up and come to school. And so it was a cute little moment. But my family is very proud of the trajectory that this has taken, and um, we're enjoying it together. We enjoy it together.
That's fun. Did you have to build a garage for all the things that people send?
That I had to build a house, a very large closet, and my husband has a small closet. I said I'll share. I'm happy to share, but so we get it. We do get a kick out of that, and he's very proud, and he's very accommodating with whatever I need. Yeah.
How are your film crews?
I had a great young lady who has since gone off to create her own life. She has two children. She has one on the way. So you're not going to believe this, but I've learned to do this a little bit on my own and not have to have all the hands in the pot. And it's a little bit harder, but you get control over it and you can create your own vision. And it's been fun. It's been fun. Um, I don't know where it will go from here, but for now, I'm my own crew.
It's so funny when I talk with different models in New York, and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, these self-tape auditions, they're so hard. How do I figure out how to set up a camera for a full body? I have to go from, a headshot to a three-quarter to now they want a full body, and it's 6 different camera setups."
It's definitely hard. My husband does help some, and he reminds me often, I am not being paid for this. I am free help. So take it for what it's worth. So, we
Like
laugh
off the top of your head.
yes, yes. Or half my body is out of the frame.
That is so funny. Every so often I'll be out with my husband and he'll say, "Okay, do you want me to take a picture here?" Because I really like graffiti. Live in New York, I just gravitate towards graffiti. And I'll say, "Okay." And he'll say, "Okay, I got some good ones." I'm like, "Honey,
Go back and look, and
I'm really grateful that you offered to take the pictures.
yeah,
But you need reading glasses like I have. Those long distance ones aren't helping you hear anything."
right, right.
Because it'll be.
Now, are you guys in business together?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So he's just jumping in to be a dear soul, but bless his heart.
Exactly. You have to honor the photographers.
Yes, and
Wait.
like I said, my husband does remind me, I'm doing this out of kindness. I do not have any skills. So it's fun though. It's fun.
It reminds me of our son. He's juggling 22, juggling a lot of different businesses, consulting for a bunch of companies. And he said a name of someone the other day. He's like, "Mom, I got to get back to so and so." I'm like, can you just remind me who that is?" He goes, "Mom, if you want to be my anonymous business manager, you need to get a notebook to keep track of everything."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad we acknowledged it's anonymous and we'll never be public."
Diane, the menopause brain is real, right? I mean, I can attest. I'm saying it's menopause brain.
So do you have favorite apps you use?
Favorite apps. I I don't really have I don't really have any apps. I do have an editor, so I'll do all the filming and then I'll clip what I want, and then I have an editor, so I don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of all that kind of stuff.
I can
Um,
imagine you enjoying that because there's so many fun things. I have interns that come in and see me, and I'll always say, okay, I need you to look through this and make a few little shorts or make some videos. And then they'll show me, CapCut or Ripple or some new thing, and I'm like, oh, these are so much fun. I could lose another 2 hours doing
and
this.
that's why I don't do it. I know how to do it, but I'll just say, can you add this effect or that effect, or kind of give them direction, but just let them go with it. And I'll stick to the creative side and let them stick to the detail side. So there's, like you said earlier before we started, there's only so many hours in the day, and they slip by fast.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how have you found as your influence has grown, working with different brands? Has that changed in any ways for you?
I do think that has changed a lot. When we first started out, it's a lot of gifting situations, but people don't realize how much time brands, I'm not saying the brands don't, but maybe the managers of the brands, there's a lot of time that goes into this.
Yeah.
And there's only so many hours in the day. And if this
Yeah.
is your business, you have to make it a business. And that kind of landscape has changed. And um, the negotiation type thing, it's all kind of changed. I think when we first started, people didn't know what was going on, and
Hmm.
it was a learning curve. And I think now, this is kind of the wave of the future. People use social media for advertising. They use it for so many different things. And, you have to grow and evolve. And as an over 50 influencer, almost 60 influencer, I feel like, it's even more of a learning curve for us. But here we are,
Yeah.
way to go,
Doing it.
midlife gals. And we're here, we're doing it. It might take us a little bit longer. We might have to read the directions 3 times, but we are here, and we are major players in the game. And I think that's huge for us over 50 gals.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said because I really have observed a couple of changes. One was everything, budgets at companies kind of largely went from the advertising side to the PR side. And they said, oh, we'll do gifting. I have a friend who had a huge, huge premium business, and which she recently retired from. But she said, it used to be brands would order, you know, 20,000 premium items, and give them away at counters, or sell them. Now they're like, well, can I get 100 of these really cool design packages? Because I'm only going to send them to 100 influencers who are going to love when they get them and they'll post for free. So it's a big shift.
It's a huge shift, and it, you know, for brands, I understand that strategy. However, if you have 20 brands sending you, or you get 20 things a day, and you spend an hour on, your day is gone on gifted items.
Yeah.
And I think brands have to realize that. And the market is saturated. Everybody has an Instagram account. So I think now it's brand awareness, right? What setting spray are you going to get? Well, I don't know. I've seen a bunch of people talk about X setting spray on TikTok or Instagram. So it's more awareness of the brands. And I think it's just a shift, and I think they have to realize. And I'm sure it won't stay there. I'm sure something else will change, and then every time we get used to this, something changes, and we have to readjust. But again, that's good for our 50, 60-year-old brain because we're having to learn something new. So I like the challenge. I like to stay up on whatever is fresh and current, and I think it helps keep us fresh and current.
I agree. The other big shift that's an interesting one that I hear a lot of influencers navigating, and models too, is that contracts will come back, indefinite usage for life. It's like, well, it's the internet. How can I ever take it down? And so then those negotiations become, well, maybe you don't have to take it down, but you can't promote it anymore. You can't boost it anymore. You can't repost it.
That's a big one. That's a big one that I'm dealing with now. I don't know how I forgot that. The word perpetuity in everything, and it's kind of hidden in there. You have to really go looking for it. I have a legal background, so I'm used to reading contracts, but that it is kind of tricky, and beware, because they'll put it, and you have to look for it in different places. But how can they ask for something in perpetuity? You think, how can they ask for this? You're getting paid X, and they want this for 100 years.
Yeah.
How's this? So I think people are wising up to it, and I think brands are. I don't think they're trying to do it underhandedly, maybe, but
Well, the catch is, again, it always gets down to who's the producer behind it, who's the team behind it. Is it an outside team? I have a girlfriend I know who's been modeling, had been modeling a long time, but several years ago, she had done a campaign for a underwear company, but she's in like a fitted tank top, kind of like like what you have on, or what I have on, one of those kind of tank tops, and a pair of undies, and it got sold to a naked yoga company, and
yeah,
she's got her clothes on, but she didn't want to be the face of naked yoga, so those usage terms. So it's an interesting shift for people who do influencer work, who are creatives, to really pay attention to what those contracts say and understand what you're sharing, what you're allowing, and what you're giving up.
absolutely. And if you are new here and you're a new influencer, even if you're not a new influencer, I mean, you have to protect yourself. And if you're not a detail-oriented person, then hire you somebody that is, to protect your interests, because at the end of the day, it's going to save you, somewhere along the way. You don't want to give up the farm, as they say. So,
What does a day look like for you?
well, I get up, I'm a very regimented person. I get up at 6 o'clock every morning, regardless, weekend, non-weekend. Spend a little quiet time, do my little devotional, jump right into social, get that out of the way, exercise, and hop back on social several other times. I have parents that I'm very close to. I'm very grateful my parents are still living, and I'm kind of a part-time caregiver for my dad, so there's a lot of that in there. I have a 30-year-old daughter and son-in-law, and they have two pups, and so my husband and I play pickleball. We have a pretty full life. Yeah, our days are pretty full. And if I can, I like to sneak in a little just quiet time, maybe reading. It might be a 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but just to really appreciate and have gratitude for life.
What's the last thing at night you do before you go to sleep?
Always pray, and be grateful, and pray I wake up the next day. My grandfather used to say, if your name is not in the paper in the morning, it was a good night. So.
I'm stealing that line. That's a good one. So there are a lot of young girls, guys that want Instagram fame. They want that. They want to be a creator. They want to build their audience. What would you tell someone today who says, I want to be an influencer? What would be your advice to them?
That is a very, very good question. I actually spent the evening with my daughter last night, and we were creating some content. She was going to go with me and create some content. And when she got in the car, we shot from 5:30 to 9 o'clock. She said, Mom, I'm exhausted. And she's a healthy, active 30-year-old. She said, this is serious work. And I think that's the part that is missing it all. But it's like anything else in life. You know, you're going to see the highlight reel. You're not going to see the part that got cut and is on the cutting room floor. And it is a lot of hard work. There are days that I put in at least 12 hours. And if I'm also part of the ProAge Project and 6 midlife women traveling, living our best life, when we do these trips, I have to sleep. When I come home, I have to sleep for a long time, solid day pretty much to catch up. It's work from the time we get there to the time that we leave. And I think that is the part that people don't realize. If you're looking for a quick, way to make money, be famous. I mean, people want something different out of this. You know, it is a lot of work. You're looking at least 12-hour days, and I think I think that's the takeaway. I think that is what you have to realize. And you know, my generation, my grandparents, great grandparents were Italian immigrants. They have a tremendous work ethic. If you don't have that, forget about it. It takes a lot of work ethic. So that's my advice to the up and coming influencers. Good luck.
It is a lot of work. It's a commitment.
It is
It's
a huge commitment.
yeah. It's funny. I never declared it out loud, but I kind of disappeared for the months of January and February. I posted a couple of things because I just was like, you know what? I think about this 24 hours a day. I think about it when I'm walking on the street. I overhear a conversation. I think, oh, I could write about that. You know, and it's just like, I'm going to turn it off. And
I think that's an issue too. I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and say, okay, I have to. This would be good to do this or this, and then I think I'm literally insane. This is
Mhm.
insane. It is really insanity. But you just have to reel it in, and I I think it's the social media in general can make your mind that way because it's constantly giving stuff to us. It's information overload. And as someone that's in the space, I realize it. And, maybe we need to limit our exposure somewhat, but I think it rewires your brain to think this way. And I mean, I'm having dinner with, I don't know, a very important person, and I'm sitting here thinking about what my post is going to be for tomorrow, what I have to do. So so to the new influencers out there, it's a lot of hard work, and it will make you crazy.
How many times do you post a day?
I only post once a day, but the hours that it takes that just goes into that, it's yeah,
Now,
yeah.
with all that you were doing with Oysters to Pearls, what the heck made you think about starting the ProAge Project as well?
Well, I met these ladies and we just really had a connection and we all got along so well. And, you can get along with a lot of people, but you don't necessarily want to travel with them, right? Because traveling is a whole different beast. And we travel well together and we get along and everybody kind of has a role. And really and truly, it came along in my life when I really needed it. And it was like a balm on my heart. And I love these ladies like sisters. And I can't say enough good things about finding your people, especially over 50. We're really good at it when we're young. We find our people and then life happens, right? You get married, you have kids, and people come along at different seasons. And I'm very aware of that. And I hope this isn't just a season. I hope that this is the forever season. And I just really have a great camaraderie. We laugh a lot and we are like sisters. I never had a sister, but what I could imagine a sister would be if you're mad, you just say, we're mad, get over it. And so it's been a great new chapter for me.
And you said you travel a lot. What is that look
We
like?
travel with the ProAge. We just got back from Chicago. We worked with some brands, and so we usually travel from, say, a Thursday to a Sunday, and it's just work. It's work, but it's fun work. It's a lot of fun, and it lights my soul on fire. And if you don't get that feeling, then it's not for you, you know.
I love it. I love that you
Yeah,
started to put that together and do that as well.
yeah, yeah. So I'm not sure there's much more room left on my plate, but if I have a grandchild, that I think that would be like, icing on the cake there. That would fill my plate, and then life would be complete. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Shannon, these go too fast, but I enjoyed speaking with you tremendously as I knew I would.
Oh my gosh, Diane, I enjoyed it so much. We'll have to do it again.
We absolutely do. Okay, everybody, I've been speaking with Shannon Mann. You might know her as Oyster to Pearls on Instagram, which I highly recommend you follow, and there will be all kinds of links below to follow what Shannon does, because it's a lot of fun. It's uplifting, it's inspiring, and I know you'll enjoy it. And you might also want to follow the ProAge Project, which there'll be links for that too, because that's a great group of women that are collaborating, having fun, showcasing, living life, which is what I think we've been discussing and what this is all about. So thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Shannon and I are moving over to the green room. Again, I'm going to ask you to hit subscribe to the podcast, hit subscribe to all Shannon's links, and I look forward to seeing you next time. This is Dian Griesel, host of the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast. See you soon.